Okay.
All righty then. Still need a few more people here. Give us 1 minute, Mayor.
Okay.
We are now streaming live to YouTube, Facebook. We got our recordings going. Give us 1 minute while we wait for our other council members stuck in traffic, I suppose. 1, 2.
Who are we missing?
9, so minus
The
2.
2 deputy
Good
mayors.
evening, everybody.
Okay.
Do you have his slide?
Yeah.
What?
Because there's no Microsoft.
On that laptop?
Nope.
Uh,
1 sec.
I don't know if this one. You should be able to still play. You know, it's the PowerPoint viewers.
Trying to hold out for Deputy Mayor Katz here.
If you don't have off.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
It's.
It's
Go upstairs, and when you're ready, just kind of give me a heads up.
you can start it now, Ron. Yeah, you're good to start it now. Mayor, if you want to wait 1 more minute and then we could
Okay.
just get rolling. Give Ron just a second. Take a sip of water and we'll be good to go. I was trying to hold out for Deputy Mayor Katz. There he is.
Okay. We
All
all
right,
set?
Mayor, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Let's do Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Romney Rice,
Here.
Councilman Began,
Here.
Councilwoman Organ,
Here.
Councilman Kaplan,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Here.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 226-2020, sending a copy to the newspapers officially designated for 2021 by way of resolution number 111-2020, filing a copy in the township clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes.
Thank you, Doug. Just a few announcements. Tonight we have, Tonight we have Dean Kaczynski, our township manager, with us. Doug Grucione, our township clerk. I think this is the first time we could say that, right, Doug? Clarence Barnes, building maintenance worker, back at the house. Ron Goodman, our volunteer master cable caster, and John Shadanian from the law firm of McCusker and Selmy, Rosen, and Carvelli. The next televised council meeting will take place on Tuesday, February 9th at 7 p.m. Please be reminded that attendance to the municipal building is by appointment only until further notice. And please let us have a moment of silence for John Bauer, retired fire chief for the township of Teaneck, who recently passed away. Thank you. The council met in closed session to discuss the following: interviews, safety and security, contract negotiations, legal issues and or opinions on any item on the open session agenda, litigation updates, and Oprah. So now we will move to presentations, and first item is Teaneck Board of Education leadership.
Thank you, Mayor. We wanted to recognize the new president and the new vice president of the Board of Education. Sebastian Rodriguez was elected president, and he is the first Latino to serve in that role. And Linda DiCarlo Burns was elected vice president. We wish them both the very best of luck in their new leadership positions, and we look forward to working with them. We also have a certificate for Sebastian and a certificate for Linda that we will make sure we get to them very soon. Thank you, Mayor.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Pagan. They have also reached out to us, and I was on their reorganization meeting to wish them well. And we are going to be meeting the leadership of council and leadership of the Board of Ed. They had asked to meet with us basically to kind of a get to know you Zoom call. So we're going to be doing that in about 2 weeks. And I already discussed with them trying to reconstitute the subcommittees, both for the council and for the Board of Ed, that had started work and talking about different ways in which both groups can work together. We were doing that pre-COVID, and then COVID kind of took care of that. So we hope that that's going to be restarted very, very soon. We've already done, I think, Deputy Mayor Schwartz made the motion to reconstitute that. And so we're going to move forward with that as soon as we can. But we're going to be talking to each other in about 2 weeks.
One Teaneck, just remember, one Teaneck.
That's
Mr.
right.
Mayor, I'd just like to make mention, since we're talking about the Board of Education, the Board of Education also experienced a huge loss in the passing of Mr. Coach Curtis March,
Oh,
who led many seasons to championships of basketball games, plus a wonderful teacher of African-American studies at Teaneck High School. So just wanted to mention that since you were on the topic.
well, I think that's very timely. I thank you for bringing that up. So what I would also ask then is that we have a moment of silence for Coach Curtis March, please. Thank you. Okay, PPRAB presentation, Dr. Hoffman.
You're muted there, Doctor.
Can't hear you.
Ken, you're muted. Ken, you're muted.
Bottom left of your screen, Doctor.
Mr. Mayor, we've been trying that for a long time.
There we go.
We finally muted him. Got it.
Yes,
Next.
Yeah, just let my wife know. Okay, here we go. Before starting the presentation, I wanted to thank Township Manager Kaczynski, Mayor Dunleavy, and all of the council members for everything you have done, all of the time, the effort, the overtime, the lack of sleep in working to get the Township of Teaneck citizens, and in fact, Bergen County and the state of New Jersey citizens in time, anti-COVID-19 vaccines. Not only is this life-threatening disease and will be life-saving, but it truly does affect everything the township will be doing immediately, in the near future, and in the long term, and then effectively as we deal with the PPRAB recommendations that I'll be giving to you at this time. Doug, so thank you all very, very much for all that you have done for all of us. Okay, next slide, please, Doug. This presentation is very similar to the one I did as chair of the Municipal Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board, just showing the members. Our membership is very stable. Avi Berliner has become the vice chair, replacing Dr. George Raskakis, and Mr. Bernie Pearson has become the Municipal Open Space Trust Fund representative for the PPRAB, and I'm sure they will both be busy in the upcoming months. Next. This is also to show that we also have other members. Our attendance is generally around 100% with Ms. Crockett, Ms. Skolnick, Mayor Dunleavy, and again, another thank you to George for all of his decades of work, former chair, vice chair of the PPRAB. And he's doing well in Waldwick. Okay, next. Just to show once again that bureaucracies move slowly, but Teaneck is moving forward, not backward. These are our recommendations 3 years ago, very similar to what the Municipal Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board recommended 3 years ago. The PAL building is down, the parking lot has been removed, things will be moving forward. We fully recommend, just as we do now, that we recommend all the most recommendations. We do have dogs on leashed, leased dogs, not unleashed, leashed dogs, except in Brooks, and that has worked out well. And the Arboretum is going to stay with the PPRAB, and we will work on that over the next few months and how best to improve.
Jules, can you turn it down a little?
I'm sorry. Okay.
Go ahead, Ken.
Okay, I'm sorry. How best to improve the facility at Phelps Park. The Shady Tree Advisory Board doesn't feel that they're comfortable handling it, so we will take it over again. Next, please. One of the things that is still being worked on is the OSRP. We've talked about the Rossi, and we'll leave that as it is. Again, the Rhoda Center repairs are still continuing. Hopefully we'll be finished in the spring. And we're working on a master scheduling system that has been one of Mayor Dunleavy's pet projects for the last 3 to 5 years, and hopefully that will come into fruition, and Maria Montana will be able to use it easily and help us all in dealing with our room inventory and field inventory once COVID is under control. And the Palisade Avenue electric signs work well. Okay. So our recommendations now are pretty straightforward with some new items. We were very cognizant of the financial issues that are facing the township, state, and federal government, and just want to go through a few of them. The rest you can read online, and I'm always open for suggestions, corrections, more discussion, and I look forward to that as well. So we fully hope that the Rhoda Center renovations will be completed. There are some things that need to be done, including some work with the brickwork. The most recommendations, as I presented on December 8th, and continuing with putting a bathroom facility in the northern end of the park. Things that are new is improving Brooks Park and dealing with the trails, improving and spending some time in Phelps Park, particularly as you'll see, as now that we've gotten rid of the PAL building, we have other dilapidated buildings in our parks that we think should be torn down and replaced with either a prefabricated building or turn into more parkland. Clearly, the walkway in Phelps Park needs to be improved, particularly for as people are starting to go back, or hopefully will soon be going back to commuting to the city and getting off at River Road and adding a pavilion for picnic tables. One of our main thoughts as a PPRAB is that we should have more ability for families, friends, and spectators to sit and enjoy the outdoors of our great park system with tables and chairs. Next, please. The Brett Park, again, we have the carriage house, which has been there forever. This was discussed when I first joined the PPRAB, which must have been at least 15 years ago, if not further. Clearly improving the park path to the Hackensack River, which is one of our gems, and the DPW has done a great job with Indian Pond, and hopefully will continue it. And we're hoping that the parks, whether it be leaves, snow, or other things, the parks would be left untouched by DPW, particularly as we move forward to a new facility. Clearly, the fencing and backstops are old. All you have to do is walk through any park. Doesn't matter if it's Ammon, doesn't matter if it's Votee, doesn't matter if it's Sagamore or Hawthorne. We need a lot of work on our fencing. And updating all of the playground equipment. Superintendent Crockett has done the inventory and has made recommendations or will be making recommendations to Township Manager Kaczynski. But clearly we have to have it ADA and up to snuff. It's no longer the 1970s. A thought for many members of our committee was to put in a little facility like a miniature golf or a putt-putt facility where families could play some sort of sport together. But the biggest issue was to use a park other than Votee, as well as to add a second dog park at one of these three areas where we think it really needs to be done. The last 2 points is dealing with our older population and using a name, we call it Jerry Tread, which is to have pathways with benches and seats where the older individuals can sit and do exercising. Silver Sneakers is one that has been used throughout the country, but allowing people to be able to do passive as well as active exercising along a quarter-mile track. And I think this should be in different parts of the town and areas which have accessible parking. And finally, we will need to all work together in trying to get outside funding for a number of our major projects, such as fixing the band shell, dealing with the Votee Park and other ball field improvements, and other things that we wish to do in our township. Next, please. I want to thank council for asking us and our committee. Avi Berliner really headed a lot of this and Bernie helped a lot. All of our members made contributions to the suggestions, and it is wonderful to know that we have a two-way street communication, and we look forward to working with you and making Teaneck the best place in the United States, if not the world, to live, to work, and to play. Please remember to get a good face mask, maintain social distancing, and get the vaccine when Dean and council get it here and the government figures out how to distribute it from wherever they're hiding it at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hoffman. Does anyone on council have questions for Dr. Hoffman? Seeing Councilmember Organ.
I know you had discussed with the most presentation that you did, putting in tables for chess or checkers, and the Senior Citizen Advisory Board was really looking for seating areas in every park. I love the idea of the Jerry Tread in the two parks that they can use for exercise. But if we could take a look at the parks through the eyes of the senior citizens in town who have to move outdoors now because of COVID, just so that each park that's near a home could have an area for them, whether to gather, to sit a seating area facing each other but socially distant. And I did send a few recommendations to Mayor Dunleavy from the Senior Citizen Advisory Board also.
I think it's
Yes,
a wonderful idea. I think I brought up earlier that we would love to have seating and tables and picnic areas in all of our parks. Our parks are great places to sit, and hopefully once it's not so cold and April's in, you'll probably see it being used, which is why the vaccination program that has been started in Teaneck through all of your help, and particularly with Dean's, is so important, because otherwise we're going to be back to where we were in April.
Also, I would love the opportunity if members of the PPRAB would be willing to take a tour of the parks and to see where you're looking to put things, what you're looking to do, and maybe we could, give some suggestions also.
Sure. Just send me offline an email, and we'll figure something out. We'll probably caravan it because I don't think anybody's riding a bus these days.
Correct. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Any other questions of Dr. Hoffman? Okay,
Well, goodbye. Thank you again. I'm now silenced.
thank you very much, Dr. Hoffman, for all you do. All right, next, work session items. Miscellaneous. Old business. New business. Councilmember Organ.
I'd like to nominate Kawan G to the Youth Advisory Board.
I'd like to second it.
Second. It's been moved and seconded by Councilmember Rice. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay,
We will see a resolution at the following meeting, council.
correct.
Doug?
Okay, communications. Anybody have anything to report on communications? All right, I have, well, I mentioned briefly the communications that we had with the Board of Education that we're going to be meeting in a couple of weeks. I've had far too much communication relative to the vaccine, both me reaching out to the state and to other entities, and I'll leave that for the manager's report because I know he's going to spend a fair amount of time on that. And I know that the council has all received a number of emails relative to the Black Lives Matter mural. I wanted to recognize that we all got it, and I have started some discussions with council. My intent is to handle it similarly to what we did back in the fall, and that is, once I get a sense from the council of where they feel they might want to head with this, I will sit down with the mural committee and have a discussion with them, because I think they have to be very much involved as well. Again, a reminder that we passed 2 resolutions in the fall. One was the first one, creating it for 3 months, which goes to January. But we also had an additional resolution which said that we would have it there through April. So we're now just in the process of starting our discussions. So we haven't forgotten about it. We know what's ahead, but that's where we're at. Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Mayor. Please also note that we renamed Elizabeth Avenue Black Lives Matter Way.
Thank you. That's correct. Okay. Any other communications? Okay. Committee reports by council liaisons.
Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, as you'll probably hear tonight, the planning board had a meeting last week on the 14th, at which point we agreed that 320 Alfred is in findings with our, excuse me, I get the exact language. It's consistent with the redevelopment plan. It was consistent, and we sent a letter to the council a short while ago, I should say. I believe that's being voted on tonight. The second thing is we had the second item was a presentation, an informal presentation by the hospital, identical to the one that was presented to the council. And the hospital, the neighbors, and the council and the town continue to be in dialogue daily on the matter.
Terrific.
Cedar Lane Management Group, my last committee, Cedar Lane Management Group had a meeting, at which point we are planning on holding our Memorial Day Cedar Lane event, subject to obviously change, but we're going to go forward in hopes that late May will be a new world and that we can come out and about, especially since it is an outside program to begin with. That's what I have on my committees.
Let's hope. Any other liaison reports they want to do? Deputy Mayor Katz?
I just want to report that the zoning subcommittee had a meeting last week. And we spoke about the process for Alfred Avenue, as well as we had a discussion with some members from AUCC.
Okay, did I see another hand up?
Yes.
Yes, Councilmember Rice.
Yes, I'd like to report out that a number of members of the Community Relations Board attended a community meeting with members from the state regarding rethinking homelessness, the eviction crisis, as homelessness is one of their 2021 initiatives. So a number of members attended. They also were participating in an annual contribution to the MLK event, which was actually held yesterday, which was a really great event. That's, I believe, 52 years, I think Anthony Johnson mentioned, but that was wonderful. So proud that our community relations, in terms of collaboration with the township, always makes an annual contribution, which supports the scholarships that they provide in the community. Additionally, our Youth Advisory Board, they have a meeting scheduled tomorrow with Doug. They're working on putting together a civics event, connecting with the Chamber of Commerce to have youth who are interested in businesses and entrepreneurship to be able to connect with various business owners in the township.
Anyone else have a report? Okay, great. All right, let's move on to council listed items. Review of dog license procedures and updates and ordinances. Councilman Kaplan. You're on mute. Keith, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, it froze out on me for a second. What were
Yeah.
you saying there?
I'm saying we're moved on to council listed items and we're on
Yes.
the dog license procedures.
Okay, so I had spoke with Mr. Catter. A lot of residents had issues with the dog licenses. It is a lot more confusing than it has any right to be. But the simple issue is this: a lot of people got dogs in the beginning of COVID. If you go to get a new license when our period opens in January, it needs to have a period of validity for the vaccine through November 1st, meaning if you got your dog's vaccine in October and you go to get a license, it won't you won't be allowed to, because that license is going to expire next October and it doesn't reach that November 1st. The fact that you're going to get a new one next October doesn't count. So we can do one of two things about that. Both require ordinances. One is to allow a 3-year license. The state statute allows for that. Mr. Catter is on board with that. In fact, he says it would reduce paperwork. So as long as no one objects, that seems to be a really easy one. And, I'm fine just leaving the rates whatever they are and making it 3 times for the 3-year license, whatever it is for the 1-year license. And the second one is to remove the late fee. What that will do is, if you're up in October, right now, we wouldn't be able to, you would have to get an additional shot for your dog. You may have just gotten that shot, a couple weeks ago, but now you need to go back for a new one post-November. What removing the late fee does is it lets you basically lapse from January through to the next October. You go in for your annual shot, you pay for it then, and you're good to go. So I checked with him. He said there's about 100 people that fall into the category of getting a late fee per year at $15. It's about a $1,500 thing. I think it would be a lot less of a headache for many of our residents. So I would advocate for both of those changes, but certainly the 3-year option.
Discussion. Okay, hearing none. Yes, Councilmember Organ.
No, I spoke to council. You call me?
Sorry, no, I called Councilmember Organ first.
Oh, okay, fine.
Just a question for Keith. Is legally it has to be through November? Can't we just say within a year?
That is correct. I asked him, I said, is there anything we can do? And I wrote out an entire blog post and tagged every single state statute. It seems insane, but the only other way we would be able to do it is have a rolling process. He said it would be a paperwork nightmare for his office because they have to send out all of the renewals each year, and they do that in January. Otherwise, they'd have to basically send out a renewal whenever the next person was up, and he said that would be way too chaotic over there. There's a state statute that your license cannot expire any later than June for reasons passing understanding.
Deputy Mayor Katz, did you want to say something? You're muted. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I spoke to Councilman Kaplan. It sounds reasonable based on what he was suggesting. Sounds like an anti-bureaucrat offer.
Any other questions? So unless I hear any objections, I think, Keith, it sounds like we can go ahead and.
Mr. Attorney, you'll draft up the necessary and I'll email you in between to make sure those two things are on. Thank
Okay,
you.
Great,
So-
thank you.
Yeah, okay.
And just a quick mention to anyone in the public, if you have bureaucratic things that our code is hampering, kkaplan@tnecnj.gov, let me know.
Okay. Next item, number 2, vaccine education program. Myself and Councilmember Rice, we were having discussions between us with respect to concerns related to the number of members of our minority communities, especially the Black community, who are not taking the vaccine. We're concerned that there may be a lot of reasons there that we might, through education, be able to handle. So what we did was we put together a panel of, I think we have what, 6 now, Javon? You're on mute. Javon,
Yes,
you're
a
on-
total of 6 participants.
right. And we've gotten commitments from all of them to do a panel discussion. These are all healthcare providers of color who are volunteering their time. So we're going to be moving with basically a panel discussion and Q&A on January 26th, I think we picked,
Yes.
from 7 till 8 p.m. So we're going to be similar to what we did with some of the COVID things that we did. We'll be putting stuff out hopefully starting tomorrow. And we will be asking people to send in questions, and we'll have questions ready for them to hopefully allay fear and possibly try and get an increase in the percentage of our minority community accepting going and get the vaccine. You wanted
Right.
to add anything, Councilwoman?
Yeah, I just wanted to, make mention of the fact that the reason why we thought this was important, because as everyone knows, minority populations have been adversely affected by the disease, COVID, by disproportionate numbers, and, are faced by other inequities in healthcare. But one of the ways to mitigate the health disparities is through education, strengthening health literacy among racial and ethnic minorities, in addition to creating cultural competency initiatives in medical school. But being able to the fact that we have the opportunity with the vaccine, so gracious with our partnership with Holy Name Hospital and all the work on behalf of the township and Dean, just want to make sure that our residents are properly educated as to the opportunity that's available. There's a lot of myths and urban legends, and hearing from our local doctors, people that live amongst us that they know and trust, would provide a really great opportunity to be able to answer questions. So I appreciate their time and willingness to donate their energies towards this challenging area.
Yeah, I see this every day in my practice, and it's very difficult to break through, and I understand the issues. Just so you know, if you go to the NJ COVID website right now, I believe the breakdown of people who received the vaccine And of course, this is data that may be not as accurate and not as up to date, but right now it's standing at about 3% of African Americans make up those that received the vaccine, and I think it's about 8% for the Latino community. So we wanted this for our minority communities, and we wanted them to show that we wanted to support this. I think there's going to be information there for everybody. So I would really like as many people as possible to log in and get that information, because there are other people, not just of color and not in the Latino community, who are reticent about taking this vaccine. I know I had some staff members who were reticent. So I think it would be a good thing for us to do. And then once we're completed with that on the 26th, we're going to record it and we're going to put it up on the website so anybody can avail themselves of that information at any time. So I'm looking forward to seeing us get that done. I think it's an important thing for our community.
And Holy Name is actually going to be following up with their own event, a similar event, like a part 2
Right.
in February for Black History Month. So that'll be another ongoing opportunity for questions to be answered.
Right, exactly. Okay. Next is a walk-in. I broke my own rule, except I felt this was very timely and I felt it was important. We have done this last year. We passed this resolution in 2019. We reaffirmed it in 2020, and I think it's an important thing to reaffirm now, given the state of our country, that hate has no place in Teaneck. And I think the words of that resolution ring true today as it did the day that I wrote them. And so without any objection, I'd like the minutes to reflect that we have reaffirmed this resolution for 2021. No objections? Terrific.
For all future, for the future, for not just 2021, 22, 23. It doesn't happen here.
Infinity.
Thank you,
Infinity
Bert.
Beyond, right?
Yes.
So
long as we don't walk things in the day of the meeting. Just saying.
Well, I was waiting, Mark.
I give you 12 hours on that one.
I
Okay.
know. I understand. I agree.
I'm in favor of you walking it in.
No. See,
You know that I'm against
you're gonna-
deputy
you're gonna
mayor's
work good on this.
policy.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm gonna now take a little point of personal privilege here. I feel that I feel I have to make a personal statement about this. And it's in regards to what happened in Washington and how I believe it affects us as elected officials, and what I feel I have to say about this. It has been the practice of this council that we do not take up resolutions or stances on national or international issues, or those which we do not have direct control. However, the events of the recent past, transcend politics and transcend viewpoints. I want to condemn the attack on our Capitol that took place on January 6th. The purposeful and violent acts were intended to disrupt and stop the counting of electoral votes as part of the traditional peaceful transfer of power from one administration to the next. While we as Americans, we take pride in our ability to express ourselves through free speech, but violence is never an acceptable response. And I would also ask that you keep in your thoughts the loss of life on that day, especially the Capitol Police officer who died in the line of duty. The use of violent symbols and shouts of racism that were used to try to subvert our legitimate laws and institutions is the antithesis of democracy, and it's an affront to all Americans. This insurrection to disrupt the constitutional duties of the Congress was instigated, encouraged, and incited by a sitting president who for months spewed misinformation about the election and its results. The violence we witnessed on January 6, 2021 demonstrated that we must, as a nation, refuse to be guided by fear, but rather stay the course, as Martin Luther King wrote, by ensuring that the arc of the moral universe is bent towards justice, and to work to nurture true democracy for all people in America. Now, as an elected official, I took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, whether on a local or a national level. It is our Constitution that dictates when and how new administrations are elected by the people of the United States. I sit here as an elected official, as part of that democratic system that was attacked, and we must condemn this act and the underlying racism that propelled it. We also cannot give in to the darkness that these insurrectionists want. We have to fight the urge to be complacent, that these things are just that we have to fight the complacency, and that these things are just other people's problems, because no, they are everybody's problems. We have learned that our system of government and our way of life is not something we can take for granted. Like our forefathers who created the great country we now have to work in and live in, and we have to make it better every single day. Now more than ever, we have to hold close to that image of the courage, resolve, and dedication that our country was shown that night when the United States Senate and House of Representatives reconvened after the lawlessness had ceased to continue doing the people's business. They showed the resiliency and the resolve of our democratic republic. So today, on the eve of an inauguration, Teaneck must raise its voice in condemning the events of January 6th, while at the same time look forward and welcome the new administration, our President Joseph Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. And we look forward to a stronger and better America where we all work to form that more perfect union. Thank you. Township Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, we continue to work closely with Holy Name on the vaccination site. As everyone is aware, the site was closed today due to the lack of the vaccine, which is very disappointing. The link experienced some disruptions on Sunday afternoon when we first put it out and during the evening, but it was repaired by Holy Name IT. We were able to make 570 appointments Sunday, and all 570 available doses were administered on Monday. Our hotline number is working very well, and we've answered literally hundreds of telephone calls and have assisted many residents. Holy Name is currently working on a portal. Mayor, you and I discussed this, that would allow everyone to place their name into a queue when appointments are unavailable. It will be similar to what's taking place at the Newbridge Medical Center website. So if there are no appointments available, you'll see that message, but you still will be able to register. Your name will be put into a queue, and you'll be contacted when an appointment becomes available. So that's a little bit of a work in progress. I can't stress enough that everyone needs to be patient, remain calm. I remain optimistic that more vaccine is on its way. This is an excellent site, probably one of the best around for the administration of the vaccine. I believe Teaneck is the only municipality that partnered with a nonprofit hospital to provide this service. Again, this is a great thing for our community. I don't know of any other communities that are able to pull this off. We have the capabilities, the resources to operate 7 days a week, administering thousands of the dose each day, as long as Holy Name again is provided with the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccination. This evening, the link went live again after Holy Name received the Moderna vaccine. Within about an hour, 672 appointments were made. Again, when the link went live, we anticipate 600 more appointments becoming available on Thursday and Friday of this week. Again, priority is given to Teaneck residents who on Thursday and Friday will fall under phase 1. Now, again, phase 1 includes, so that we're clear, healthcare personnel and residents of long-term care facilities, frontline essential workers such as fire, police, corrections, food and agricultural workers, EMS, postal workers, manufacturing workers, grocery store workers, public transit, and those aged 65 years or older because they are at high risk of hospitalization, illness, and death from COVID-19. It also includes those ages 16 through 64 years with underlying medical conditions which increase their risk of serious life-threatening complications from COVID-19, and they include cancer, kidney disease, COPD, Down syndrome, heart conditions, obesity, sickle cell disease, smoking, and type 2 diabetes. So on Thursday and Friday, again, it will be open to those fall under 1A eligibility. We did our best with taking care of as many seniors as possible. I know we received calls. Well, I can't get into the site. I understand the frustration. There was a push the last 2 times the link was active to take care of our seniors. For me, that's a priority, and we were able to, and we will be able to vaccinate well over 1,200 seniors right now. But on Thursday and Friday, again, it will be open to all 1A eligibles. To date, Teaneck has 2,410 COVID positive cases. We remain at 111 deaths. What was interesting to hear today is that the age group now experienced the most severe effects of COVID is between 45 and 65 years of age, which I found very interesting. So that has transitioned from those at the upper levels of ages to 45 to 65 that we're finding are now on ventilators. I saw that today. Mike Maron was interviewed on CNBC, and he was bringing up some of this information on and during his interview. Getting off of COVID and the vaccination, I'm finalizing the 2020 road resurfacing list this week. Right now, I have 32 streets and 1 alternate that are under consideration and hopefully fall within the budget that we have set for this project. The infrastructure to me is very, very important, and I feel it's something we need to focus on. And there are a bunch of streets that fall under that category 3 that are in desperate need of repair. Well, we're also going to be doing Oak Dean Avenue using an NJDOT local aid grant. So that will be done in the spring. And we're doing improvements on Hickory and Woodbine through CDBG monies. And we should also be able to mill and pave the entire municipal parking lot, put in nice thermal plastic striping, some rumble strips. We have funds left over from an ordinance that we should be able to get that project done once the weather breaks. So a lot going on from the road resurfacing end. Last Friday, I appointed 7 new police officers. They include Nicholas DiCarlo, Dana Jackson, Howell Lopez, Michael Pellegrino, Wilbert Pena, Denasia Somerville, and Fernando Tice. They will start the police academy, I believe, this coming Monday for a period of 6 months. We're still short a few police officers. We just graduated 7 from the academy at the end of December. Again, they go into a field training program before they go solo on their own, which should take place roughly the beginning of April. So it's a long process to hire, get them through the academy, and go through field training and get them on the road by themselves. So we're a couple shy. We're chipping away from all the recent retirements. And that's, Mayor, the rain barrel at Mary Topolsky Park, I wanted to bring up. That plan has to be sent to Green Acres for a determination whether the structure constitutes a diversion of parkland. So once I get that answer from Green Acres, then we can move forward with that rain barrel.
Thank you.
All right, so that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, I just want to add a couple of things to Dean's report so people have an idea of the enormity of the issue with the vaccine, because I've been on phone conferences with the state, with the governor's office. I've talked to our rep at the governor's office several times a day trying to say, where's the vaccine? What are we doing? Where are we going? As you know, all the vaccines coming from the federal government. They're the one who's purchasing it, and then they're the ones that distributes it to the state. I even tried to contact Pfizer to see whether or not I could circumvent that, but that didn't work out. So the federal government is supplying the states with far less. New Jersey is getting about 40% or less of what they're actually asking for, and they're averaging about 110,000 doses a week. Now, that sounds like a lot, except when you take half of that and you put it into nursing homes for the residents and the staff, that leaves only 55,000 for the rest of the state on average. And we have roughly 200, by the map, I think it's about 259 places that have already been registered as places where people could get vaccines. So it's really pushing the ketchup in the ketchup bottle very, very slowly. You also have to realize that some states did and didn't follow the CDC. So people, I know have asked me, they've seen lines, especially down in Florida. How are these people getting it? They're not in that 1A category. Well, the CDC was guidance. It wasn't a law. So states kind of handled it the way they wanted to, and New Jersey did. And just to give you an idea of how difficult it is, I think at the end of last week, I understand that Mount Sinai and New York Presbyterian in New York, they had to cancel close to 10,000 appointments because of a lack of the drug. Now, what I found out today, this afternoon, I guess about 5 o'clock, is that the state is revamping their distribution process. What they're going to do is starting next week, they are only going to send vaccine to 4 places in the state: hospitals, nursing homes, county sites, and their new 6 mega sites that are around the state. That's where they're going to do the distribution of the vaccine. So we are now doubly lucky here in Teaneck because of Dean's work in getting us linked up to Holy Name, because at least we'll have availability through Holy Name of the trays that come through. And again, as Dean said, we are trying wherever possible to prioritize Teaneck residents. So I think, and the emails we got back from today's session, both Dean and I got back, were very, very positive in terms of their experience with the Rhoda Center. So I think the kinks are getting wired, getting knocked out. And again, I think once we put that queue, once Holy Name puts the queue in for people to register and be able to put their stuff in so they know they're there, they know they're in the queue, I think it'll allay a lot of fears on their part. The other thing I want to remind the public is that right now, the New Jersey state registration system is just registering you to clear you to see if you are eligible within the categories that the state is saying can take a vaccine. Then you have to find a place to get your vaccine. That's the New Jersey registration system, and that is separate from the Holy Name system. So to the county system, same thing. Their system is separate from Holy Name. So we have different systems, and I think there are some down south in the state that are doing similar types of things. So I know how confusing it is. It is very confusing. But I can tell you that Dean is putting in an enormous amount of hours trying to get this right for the citizens of our town. And so I want to publicly thank you for just the amount of work and dedication that you've done in trying to get this done. Because as you said, this is a one-off. We think we're the only type of partnership in the state that's doing this. And I think once we get vaccine, I think we have a very efficient system. So again, Dean, thank you very much for your hard work on this.
Just to let everybody know, I found out a little while ago, 1.2 million hits on the Holy Name website Sunday to try to make an appointment. And yes, did the link suffer some disruptions? Yes, as did affordable health care online at the federal government level, as did recently unemployment through the state of New Jersey. So unfortunately, yes, there was a hiccup. I received a lot of emails, phone calls about it. I apologize. It's out of my control, but it was corrected, and we did not have that problem this evening. But 1.2 million hits on Holy Name from the time that link went active Sunday.
Yeah, Mr. Manager, about 10 residents already took responsibility for that. They fessed up.
I would also, again, remind the public, we don't run the IT. Holy Name runs the scheduling system and all that technology. And they're supplying the manpower, and obviously we're getting the drug through them. So what we're doing, and Dean has done, and I've done, we've met several times with Mr. Marin, who's the CEO, who has been very gracious and has done everything that he can to try and make sure the TNIC gets taken care of. But we really want this queue system in this sign up, because we think that's going to solve a lot of issues and allay a lot of fears. So both Dean and I will be pushing very hard to make sure that that becomes a reality soon. Okay. You got anything else, Dean? I'm sorry.
That's it, Mayor. Thank you so much.
Okay. All righty. Township Attorney report.
Good evening, everyone. There is no attorney report other than what was discussed during the closed session tonight.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the formal meeting items, public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Township Clerk, please read in the titles.
Good evening, everybody. We are adopting or considering for adoption 4 ordinances this evening. First up is ordinance 1-2021, an ordinance repealing ordinance number 18-2017, entitled an ordinance requiring retail establishments within the township of Teaneck to collect a pass-through charge from customers requesting disposable plastic checkout bags. We have ordinance number 2-2021, an ordinance amending section 33-23, rules of general application of Article 5, zoning of Chapter 33, development regulations of the Code of the Township of Teaneck pertaining to stairs and landings within the side and rear yard setback areas. Ordinance number 3-2021, an ordinance amending Chapter 38 of the Code of the Township of Teaneck relating to stormwater control. And finally, ordinance number 4-2021, an ordinance adopting a redevelopment plan for 1085 Decatur Avenue, Block 6002, Lot 1, and 329 Alfred Avenue, Block 6002, Lot 2, Township of Teaneck, New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 40A, Chapter 12A, Section 7.
Motion to put forward ordinances 1 through 4 of 2021.
Second.
Okay. At this point, do any member of council want to make any comments related to these? Councilman Kaplan.
I just want to mention for any members of the public, 1-2021 is a repeal of the plastic bag ordinance because the state created its own ordinance, which nullified any previous ordinances that municipalities created on their own. But there's a quirk of the system that it doesn't actually get removed from our code unless we actually remove it. And that leads to a lot of things in our code that are left there that previous councils never took care of. And I just want to take a moment to mention that Doug finally gave us the word that our online code is up to date. You can now go online and see what our rules actually are.
Any other comments from council? Okay, then at this point, I will open it up for public comment. And at this point, the public comment is just on the ordinances 1, 2, 3, and 4 that we just read in. Okay, Doug.
Yes, I'm just pulling up my timer here. So again, members of the public, residents of Teaneck, we are having a public hearing strictly for ordinances 1 through 4-2021. Any items that do not have to do with these 4 ordinances that council is considering for adoption this evening, please sit tight with them. We have good and welfare coming in just a little bit. Again, these are just for the ordinances. You have 3 minutes to speak your piece about the said ordinances. If you go over your time limit, I will unfortunately have to cut you off. I do not like interrupting people. Please do not take it personal if I cut you off. If you are unable to fit all of your thought into that 3 minutes, please feel free to send us an email, clerk@tnj.gov, and we will be sure that it is in the minutes verbatim from your email. And with that being said, I'm going to bring in our first person. It looks like Mr. Alan Sohn. Give him a second to connect.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Looking at ordinance 4/2021 for the proposed project at Alfred Avenue, one can expect to hear this presented as an unvarnished success for development and affordable housing. But the full story is missing. It's just like reading the Jewish Link's front page article about the January 6th coup attempt, which told its readers a week ago in the first sentence that there were, quote, several gaining access to the building, end quote. Whether it's this council or the Jewish Link, you can never be sure you're getting all the facts. Efforts to redevelop Alfred Avenue go back years. Council was given guidance from the planner that the options were to construct buildings either 5 stories, 10 stories, or 20 stories in height. I pushed for 5-story residential buildings, which could be constructed one at a time on individual lots and for which a ready market exists. Ellie Katz and Mark Schwartz pushed for a series of 5 Stonehenge-like slab buildings soaring 20 stories in height, despite being told that the effort to combine the lots and address infrastructure would be near impossible. Much money and time were wasted in this effort. After pushing for a failed billboard project, Ellie Katz and Mark Schwartz pushed for a self-storage facility on the south side of Route 4 that would destroy the adjoining residential neighborhood while illegally diverting protected parkland. On the planning board, Mark Schwartz and Keith Kaplan voted in favor of the self-storage facility, even after receipt of a letter from the state telling the township that the project would cost the taxpayers millions in fines and penalties for misuse of the parkland. We can see the real story of the council's attitude to affordable housing at the Haluba project, where the Kushner-led group designed a project where all of the affordable housing is placed in a segregated building at the back of the lot, in violation of our settlement agreement with Fair Share Housing, of our master plan, and our zoning ordinance. In the face of a mass outcry against housing segregation, this council endlessly misrepresented the public's arguments and refused that all that was asked by the TDMC resolution is that the council do nothing, that it take no action on the project until the segregation issues were addressed by the planning board and the applicant. Council members Mark Schwartz and Jim Dunleavy, through his designee, voted in favor of this segregated project at the planning board. Even after being notified that the segregation was improper, neither Mark Schwartz nor Mayor Dunleavy took action at the planning board meeting this past Thursday to address the issue or to remedy the fatally flawed Kushner project at Haluba. Mayor Dunleavy simply does not bother to show up at planning board meetings. Yes, there will be a building that may go up at Alfred Avenue, and it may include affordable housing, but this will occur despite the strongest efforts by Ellie Katz, Mark Schwartz, Keith Kaplan, and Jim Dunleavy to turn a blind eye and move Teaneck backward to the bad old days of housing segregation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sohn. I have now brought in a Gail. You must unmute, Gail. Gail, if you can hear me, you need to unmute yourself.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Gail.
I'm sorry, I did not have a question. I was listening. Did my hand go up?
Oh, yes, it did, Gail. It's all good, though.
Thank you. I am listening. I did
Nice.
not.
I'm happy to hear that. Please be safe.
Thank
Okay, there's no-
At this time, Mayor, I see no other hands.
Okay, so we'll close the public hearing. I will allow very, very short comments. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, I was just curious if anyone got a count of how many times former member Alan Stone said Mark Schwartz's name. I was just curious about that. But that being said, I'm not really sure what the Jewish link has to do with anything. It did happen to be, there was a great picture of Mr. Stone's son on the picture that day also. So congratulations, your son is doing a great job in his school, and I've only heard incredible things about that school. It was a great article to read. As it relates to, I just wanted to clarify, the self-storage center, just as an FYI to the new council members, the closed session minutes were redacted and made public. Councilman Stone voted in favor of selling the land to the developer for the self-storage center, by the way. I think Alfred Avenue is going to be a great project. It's going to yield 258 units. 42 of them will be integrated affordable housing. With a similar integration that we have at 1500 Teaneck Road, at Avalon, at 1480 Queen Anne Road, at Newbridge and River Road, right behind Alan Stone's house, and at 227 Teaneck Road as well as the one affordable unit on Palisades Avenue under construction at Cedar Lane. So I look forward to this project, and I encourage everyone to support it. Thank you very much.
Okay. No other comments, then I'm going to move ordinances number 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think they've already been moved.
I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. Roll call.
Councilwoman Rami Rice. Muted, miss.
Muted.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Can I segregate them out, or must they all be voted on at once?
They need to be all voted on at once, but you can choose to vote on each one however you would wish.
Okay, so I'd like to vote yes on ordinances 1, 2, and 3, and no on 4.
Recorded. Councilman Began.
Yes on all 4.
Councilwoman Organ.
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes on all 4.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes on all 4.
Ordinances 1 through 4-2021 are adopted. Publications being sent out.
Okay. Now is the time of the meeting where we open it to the public for good and welfare and on any matters they wish to speak on.
Good evening once again, members of the public. Again, this is for anything on your mind that you wish to share with your council and your neighbors. You have 3 minutes to speak. And again, I do not like cutting people off or interrupting anybody. So if you go over your 3 minutes, I will unfortunately have to mute you. And if that happens and you are unable to finish the entirety of your thought, please email me at clerk@tnecknj.gov, and I'll be sure to copy and paste your statement into the minutes verbatim, just to be sure that you are included. With that being said, I'm going to bring in Miss Sandy Silverberg. Sandy?
Doug?
Yes.
Okay, good. My comments tonight are not prepared ahead of time, so I'll probably fumble all over the place. First and foremost, I want to say publicly what I say privately about our town manager. I can't thank him enough for one miracle after another. It's really quite remarkable. And I hope that along with my nagging and maybe somebody else, that he'll take a break once in a blue moon, because it's just remarkable work. And I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I also want to thank Ellie Katz for Tidbits. Even though I know it's not an official publication, I think the tone of it and the information in it can be very reassuring at times. And I very much appreciate it, and I thank you. We don't always see eye to eye on everything, but when it comes down to nuts and bolts human intervention, I can always count on Ellie, and I wanted to say thank you publicly. I also was remiss last time in not thanking Councilwoman Rami Rice for standing apart from the crowd, head up high, and defending the position in the Haluba project that some of us find so troubling. 2 more things I want to say. I think there's a danger here in raising everybody's expectation that Holy Name Hospital is making any kind of particular effort vis-a-vis the people, the residents of Teaneck. That site is open to everybody. It's not open specifically or uniquely to the residents of Teaneck. I fulfill the categories of old age, and I'm going for the trifecta. I only have 2 cancers, and I'm going for number 3, and I can't get an appointment worth a damn. But I understand that, and I'm going to wait till the month of May. I'm being patient about it. But there are some things about that protocol that are inferring or implying, depending on who's listening or speaking, that there's some special status to being a Teaneck resident. There is not. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that at the end of good and welfare, when you respond or you don't respond to the things that were brought up, some of those speeches that you make that have absolutely nothing to do with the price of tea or any issue that anybody raised are really impolite at best. I also will mention that I can see what's happening. You know, some of you, you know, go dark for a while during the meeting. The rest of you are visible. You can always tell when people are paying attention, when they're not. And I always appreciate it when you make eye contact. So thank you very much. And I wish you all to be safe and well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandy, as always. Please be safe out there, my friend. I am bringing in a Miss Gail Gordon. You need to unmute yourself. Oh,
Can
there
you hear? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Miss Gordon. You have 3 minutes.
Hi. Just on the issue of the vaccine, I'm 74 with cancer as well, and I tried many times on Sunday. I kept hitting the submit button and the code. I got several codes, and it was so confusing. And I am a former professor. I have a doctorate, and I know how to use a computer, but it was still difficult for me. So something's got to give. And I agree with the previous speaker about the Holy Name. And I don't think they have anything about age. They have it on their form, but as far as submitting and getting an appointment, the age, I don't think factors into it. So I live near there, and so I go on walks and I see the people going in. And now a young person could be eligible. I'm not saying that, but it seemed like I saw a lot more young people than older people. So I don't know about the seniors in this city. Also, Mr. Schwartz, you know, you say things about like Alan's son. You told me, you told Teaneck how much I pay in property taxes. And I didn't really appreciate the fact that you were revealing that information at a council meeting to the entire town. And I agree with Ms. Silverberg that you often say things that really don't apply to the question. So I really think you should apologize to people who you have done that to. And I also had something else, but I can't remember it. But I do think this COVID stuff will filter out and will get straightened out, but it's causing a lot of anxiety and frustration and tears. So this is very serious. If I get that disease, I could be in very serious trouble, and I need that vaccine. That's all.
Thank you very much, Miss Gordon. Please be safe. I'm bringing in a Dr. Charles Powers. Need to unmute there. Doctor.
Yes, I'm trying to start the video.
3 minutes, sir.
I want to reiterate what Sandy Silverberg and Alan Sohn mentioned in relation to the Haluba issue. That issue is not going to go away. There's too many people in this town who feel very strongly about it, and I think there will be. I'm quite confident that that will eventually get changed in some way. I'd like to ask why it was that when I put my hand up for the discussion of the of the ordinances. I did not get called on. I was going to raise two questions about two of those ordinances. I don't understand, and I know this stuff pretty well, what actually is going on with the stormwater resolution. There is nothing to explain what that resolution was achieving. I hope someone will explain it tonight. The normal whereas clauses where you sort of explain what is going on are simply absent there. You just go right into the middle of the very complex set of regulatory changes that are apparently being made. But unless you know how to put the last version with this version up side by side, you can't figure out what in the world is going on. And certainly the public doesn't know what it was you just voted on. And then to go to the discussion of the new Alfred Avenue facility, I don't understand why it was that the public wasn't given notice of this meeting. Remember, the last time this issue was addressed in any public forum before the planning board meeting on last Thursday was in the middle of July 2019, 18 months ago. And so the people who live right across the street from that facility, who I actually know had some pretty strong views about it, were given absolutely no notice to tell them what was happening. That's a long time not to have notice. And also, it turned out, the planning board made clear the other day, that in fact, the development of that proposal for a zoning change was actually a quite specific rendering of what some unknown, revealed developer has in fact planned for that site. We deserve to know what developer is in fact proposing something that is going to be spot zoned into our township by way of this redevelopment law. And those are two things that I think that the council should have taken, at least given some response to before you acted tonight, and would have if I had been called on. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. Bringing in another member of the public. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you very much.
Please state your name for the record, sir.
Ian Hendel.
You got it. 3 minutes.
Thank you. So I spoke to you last meeting as well about 735 Elm Avenue, about the parking situation for ourselves. The parking of the apartment across the street and around the corner is definitely disproportionate. That is to say that every private house on Elm has the right to park in front of their own house every other day of the week. We have the right to park every day of the week, which is a nice benefit, so that perhaps doubles our parking, but we're way more than double the amount of people. And it's essentially discriminatory towards people who own smaller homes that people have to move around on the property either side of the street. We find it quite frustrating, and I'm not saying that we have to remove all of the alternate side parking. Certainly, I understand that the people who have a house don't want to see somebody else's car in front of their house parked permanently, but I think it would be only fair to alleviate some of those days of the week, perhaps even implement street cleaning, which we don't actually have, to have some other very good reason to clean the streets and have all the cars move. As mentioned, the next block over Linden has apartments facing on both sides and private houses, but has no restrictions. And I know there was an historical reason for it. Those people are no longer resident. It's just the people who are with private homes are being tenacious and are holding on to something that they think are defending themselves. And I think it's very biased because people own more cars now in 2020 than they did in 1985. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I am bringing in Miss Debbie Eliyahu.
Hi.
Hello, Debbie. 3 minutes.
Why is it that every time you call on me, my internet drops? It's like you call my name and it zaps me out. It's a talent you have. Well, good evening, everybody. first of all, I want to speak. Is Dean still here? Where's Dean? Dean, there you are. I just wanted to say you bowl me over, you and anybody you worked with to put up this vaccine business. You must not have slept in I don't know how long, but you deserve sleep, you deserve a break, you deserve whatever anybody can give you. I bet you haven't slept in ages, and I bet you have been biting any nails that you could get your hands on, even if they belong to somebody else. There's a Hebrew song about biting nails all the way up to the elbow. I bet you've done that, but kudos for putting this together. And I just wanted to also say that the MLK birthday ceremony yesterday was very emotional. And I wanted to thank the committee, the MLK birthday committee, for putting it together. It was beautiful. And I wanted to end on a note. I don't know if this still goes on, but there used to be a thing on, I forget what channel. It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are? It's the council meeting. I'm going to ask and remind people, please speak to each other and to members of the public in a civil and kind manner without targeting each other or members of the public with personal personal attacks. That'll be good enough. Thank you. And all of you stay safe and be well. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, Debbie. And I just want to remind you, Debbie, that our manager actually never leaves the town hall. He's always here. I am now bringing in Mr. Yassin.
Oh, can you hear me very well?
Loud and clear. Yassin, you got 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. First, congratulations to TNEC on the great efforts with regards to the vaccine. I am also going to talk a little bit about the Elm Avenue parking. Last time I heard Councilman Kaplan raise an argument that has its merits. So I took it upon myself to count the number of cars that park on my block last week. So everything in red are the nights that have a parking restriction. Everything is green are the nights that do not have a parking restriction. So the number of cars, let me remind of the concern that Councilman Kaplan raised, is the concern of density, local density. So now it doesn't seem that there is much of a difference between the nights that there is when there is a parking restriction versus the nights when there is no parking restriction. Also, I would like to share with you how the street looks. This is how the street looks with the restriction. If you look right here, just remember that little circle, black circle. So right now, look at this guy here who's parked all the way to the left. There is a black car here. I don't know if you can see it. So that car right there, that guy lives on my complex, so he has to walk pretty much a good, I don't know how much, he's gonna walk like 3 minutes to go back. Without a restriction, remember, this is where that black circle became white right now. It's a little, not bad. And then the only reason you have a lot of cars here is because these people were probably not aware that on Monday was a holiday, so the restrictions were lifted. Now, this is fine so far. You know, when it gets worse when there is snow and then when there is there are piles of leaves, then it becomes unbearable. And then I understand the majority of this council ran on quality of life. And guess what? I guess with the existence of these unfair restrictions, that really right now with our presented to you that there is really no substance to the density argument, then it's not quality of life, it's quality of night. It's really wounding a lot of people, and I hope we got an opportunity here. I know that I trust that the council will make the right decision and right what is wrong in this situation. Our township manager is our hero, and then you can win. Dean, you can win the jackpot tonight by righting this wrong and eliminating those parking restrictions. The start would be to take care of the low-hanging fruit, which is the parking behind the Academy of Greatness and Excellence, the school that is on Linden, which has its tush to Elm Avenue. So that should be taken care of as soon as possible. And we're open to having conversations with our neighbors, put restrictions during the day and give us street cleaning. We're people of dialogue. We're looking forward to the right resolution to this issue. Thank you, Don.
Thank you so much, Yassine. Be safe and stay warm out there.
Wait, how many seconds do I still have?
You have no seconds left, Yassine. I'm sorry.
All right, I'm on the train. I got this kosher sandwich. It says 100% kosher, but at the bottom it says it's not certified kosher. So guys, be careful what you eat.
Oh, man. Mr. Alanson, I do apologize. You have 3 minutes, sir.
No problem. You know, whether you get your information from a newsletter or one of the Facebook groups, you're getting details secondhand, which is subject to delays and telephone tag confusion. Every resident should be signing up for emergency alerts directly from the township. Go to the township website, click on sign up for township alerts, and click on either email or Nixle text alerts. No resident should put their life at risk by counting on the false hope of getting emergency information secondhand from a council member or some other source. It's hard to tell what the most disturbing statement was from council members over the past couple of weeks. And again, Yassine spoke about kosher food, but it's hard to beat Mr. Pagan, who told the record, it's a high-end kitchen, and high-end kitchens nowadays can easily produce kosher and halal food and any other kind of food. That's the truth. It's not like a kitchen built in 1950 where it has limited capacity. It was built in 2020. It can do anything. I just want to assure him that people have been cooking halal and kosher food for centuries, but I'm curious about kitchens that can do anything. Maybe it's Councilmember Kaplan who insisted that it's impossible to build integrated housing by the Kushner Group at the Haluba site as required by the Township Code and the master plan, when in fact it's already in the works using stacked flat apartment units in Randolph and elsewhere across the state. But I think it's Mr. Dunleavy's actions that really deserve the most attention. Councilman Dunleavy asked council to reaffirm a resolution saying that there's no place for hate in Teaneck, yet much of that comes straight from council. There's no place for white privilege in Teaneck, yet Mr. Dunleavy sits in his seat as mayor solely because of white privilege. There is a place for a Black Lives Matter mural in Teaneck, but it was Mayor Dunleavy who negotiated in bad faith and made shamelessly false accusations, accusing those of proposing the project of cynical political manipulation. There's no kosher kitchen in Teaneck, which Mr. Dunleavy insists is both impossible and has been off the table for years, but Mr. Dunleavy accuses the public of stirring the pot for an undoable idea pushed by Mr. Schwartz. There's no place for housing segregation, yet Mayor Dunleavy had his so-called designee on the planning board vote in favor of it. Even worse, Mr. Dunleavy spent much time at the last meeting browbeating, berating, and needlessly and unjustifiably bullying Councilwoman Romney Rice for having the nerve, the gall, to raise the issue of opposing housing segregation in Teaneck. Mr. Dunleavy makes chronic talk of optics, how things look, while failing to take action to deal with problems that he has created. Mr. Dunleavy, it's well past time to change your ways. Don't think that you're unreplaceable. There are plenty of others who can do the job of mayor no worse than you do. Maybe Mr. Pagan can churn one of those out using the magical kitchens at the field house to create another mayor for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sohn. I am bringing in Miss Mickey Chelan. Miss Mickey Chelan, you need to unmute yourself. I am very happy that you found your way to our Zoom meeting today after our email exchange earlier. Can you hear me?
I know. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, it's my first time doing this. Thank you, Doug, for giving me the information. Okay. Number one, the Black Lives Matter banner. I'm glad you're having a meeting because I really feel that should not be painted over. It really stands and says something to people in this town. I think it needs a little more paint. I checked it out yesterday, or something that keeps it with the same color. If you're trying to get rid of it, then put something else in because Black Lives Matter is so important here in Teaneck. The other thing, I was for the senior advisory board. We met and we're trying to figure out if we could use public access to have our classes, and because it's so much easier for the seniors to press a button on their television than it is for them to work out with their computers. They said that we couldn't get the public access time because they said they would be giving classes at 3 a.m. in the morning. And I'm just wondering why we can't get our special times. I would like that figured out because it definitely would work better. The other thing is I did get a vaccination yesterday. I want to thank Dean for working so hard and letting everybody know. And if the people call Dean and he's too busy or they can't answer, they call me. So I have been getting, I can't tell you how many calls because the registration is so difficult. By the time the seniors fill out the registration, the spots are filled. So I'm going to tell them that Thursday and Friday that they probably could get a good chance of getting in. So I'll make those calls. My daughter-in-law spent all day Sunday, 6 hours getting me in with her mother. And it went very quickly, and I'm very happy, except when they got me the next time for the 3 weeks. The gentleman that gave me the vaccination gave me one time, and Holy Name gave me another, but I'll straighten that one out. People are being turned away because they don't have proof, either through a text message or an email message. So they should be reminded that they need that to show that they have a reservation. What I want to wonder is after I set up my time, there's some gentleman that kept following me around every 6 feet and at the gym, and I kept asking what is wrong, and he wasn't answering. I think the fact that I probably told him that I don't take medication, they thought I was senile. I would like Dean, if he knows why this gentleman from Holy Name was following me, I would like to know. He's nice, yeah, nice man, but I don't know why.
I apologize, Mickey. Your 3 minutes was up. Please email me. You have my email if you had anything else that you needed to share. It was very great to hear from you this evening. I'm happy that you made it. Bringing in Miss Joyce Giddens. Joyce Giddens. Joyce Giddens, you must unmute.
Can you hear me, Doug?
Joyce, I can hear you, but there's really bad feedback.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, is that better? Is that better?
It sounds like that you might have 2 devices up.
I do.
Yeah, you should.
When I stay on the telephone, I'll cut off the device. Okay, how's that?
I'm not sure what you just said, Miss Giddens, but you should close one of the devices and just speak into one.
Yeah, I'm speaking into the phone now.
Hold the phone a little closer if you can. Miss Giddens.
I'll just use the computer. Is that better?
I can hear you. Just try to speak a little loud if you can for me.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's great.
Oh, great. Okay. Happy New Year, everyone. I wanted to thank the council for accepting the approval for renaming the street for Glenton Acres. And also, I think Deputy Mayor Schwartz had done a presentation about it. I missed it on January 5th, and I just wanted to know if that was a resolution or what. have a few comments. Gwendolyn Acre has been a community vocalist for many years for her neighborhood, the Northeast, including Teaneck Road and the township as a whole. Like Dr. Martin Luther King, her contemporary, Mrs. Acre's objections against injustice of any kind were never violent. Instead, her leadership style accomplished change in a milieu of peace, mutual respect, and love. Consequently, Mrs. Acre helped to shape the township of Teaneck to be a better place for all people to live and to work. And regarding to what I heard Councilman Dunleavy say tonight, I did not appreciate him putting uneducated and the Black community in the same context. As a Black family, we have done our research on both sides for pro and con for the vaccine, and we have opted out of taking the vaccine. We are thankful that the vaccines are not mandated but optional, as they still are considered experimental with only 9 months of research, by the way. And I'd also like to say that Manager Dean Kaczynski always gives 100% in whatever he undertakes. Thank you. And yes, the Martin Luther King program, for what I did see of it, because I had another Zoom meeting, was excellent. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Miss Giddens. You sounded great.
Great.
I am now bringing in a Miss Susan Schultz.
Hi, I just had a question for clarification. The meeting that Councilman had with the AUCC, I'd like to hear a little bit about what that was about and if that was in reference to the suit. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Schultz. Give me 1 second. I apologize. There's so many names. I am now bringing in Dr. Ken Hoffman for round 2. You're on mute. Good doctor.
Hold on.
There
Okay.
you
All right. All right. So I am not speaking as the chair of the Municipal Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Board, nor of the PPRAB. I sound like Howard Rose. Where is Howard anyway? And I was going to talk about COVID, being an epidemiologist working at the federal level now, but the personal animosity that shows. Oh, and first, Chuck, I also was not recognized with my hand up, so it must have been the two of us. But all I could think of, and I admire a lot of what Alan does, is sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. We're trying to move Teaneck forward. We're trying to do the best that we can. And clearly all 7 members of council and Township Manager Kaczynski and clerk, now new clerk, not Doug, all know that I don't agree with everything we do, but we do it civilly. And if there's anything to take away from the new administration versus the old administration, is to be civil and have a nice discussion of things that you disagree with. This is what democracy is. Besides compromise, it's talking to one another and not berating them. And Dr. Dunleavy as counsel, as Dr. Powers and Mr. Sohn, in trying to do best for the township, does a lot better when personality issues are taken out of the equation. With respect to information about the anti-COVID-19 vaccination, if you haven't been listening to the newspapers or the television, clearly there's going to be a major change at 12:01 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And I would ask everyone to give a week or two to get the distribution, the Red Ball Express, to the various states in figuring out what needs to be done. When the President of the United States says he wants 100 million units delivered to the states in 100 days, people are working 24/7 like Dean does. And so you won't also get the mistakes of getting Pfizer drugs to an institution and then the next delivery is Moderna. Finally, if there is information, Mr. Catter at the Health Department I agree with Alan, Mr. Kaczynski as township manager, Dr. Dunleavy, who is living this horror every day as Director of Rehabilitation Services at Trinitas. I am not a formal member of the township. I work on the COVID-19, not as long as Dean, but a lot of time. It's trying to set things up, and happy to help. And if there are questions like Dr. Gordon, recognizing that this comes from the federal direction and what's going to be happening, it's going to be federal to state to county to local. There's going to be, just like the Sabin vaccine, it's going to come from a single source, and watch what CDC does in about a week to a week and a half's time. Doug, how much time I got left?
None.
Okay, well, I thank everybody. Stay safe, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Doctor.
All right.
Mayor, I do not see any hands at this point.
And so we'll close good and welfare for this evening. And we will, I will start for comments with Councilmember Rice.
Okay, first I'd like to congratulate the Teaneck High School flag twirlers on representing New Jersey at the inauguration tomorrow. So kudos and shout out to the flag twirlers. Also like to mention that Mr. Began reminded us that the BLM street naming, which went into effect on October 20th for 90 days, which actually expires today. So I'd like to know if we're planning to extend that 90 days. If not, can we walk in a resolution that extends the street naming for another 90 days or perhaps make it permanent? I also just would like to mention that the COVID vaccine webinars are simply to provide an additional source of information to ensure community members have access to medical information and can ask questions of local Black medical professionals who are known and trusted in the community so that they can make informed decisions about their health. It's just so that they can have access to the information. Just wanted to make sure that that was reiterated. Let's see. Also, I just wanted to mention that, oops, losing my page here. The Dean, just want to give a shout out to Dean, who has guided this township as we were first to weather the storm of the virus. We now have the first private-public partnership with Holy Name Hospital. And because of the proximity right here in our community, many of our residents have been able to and will continue to be able to take advantage of that once they feel comfortable in making their own medical choice and decisions. I also want to applaud Dean's efforts to make sure that this information was rolled out in an equitable manner so that everyone could receive the information at the same time, even though it was very challenging and over 1 million people got hits to that website. But we did want to, I know he was very instrumental in making sure that that was strategic to make sure that everyone had access to it in an equitable manner. So I would just like to continue to ask that residents be patient, work with the township hospital personnel as we continue to provide this opportunity. And thank you, Dean, for always putting Teaneck first. I want to say thank you to the concerned residents from Voorhees Street and other residents for their letters condemning domestic terrorists and the acts that took place at the White House on January 6th. I'd also like to acknowledge a stark difference between the handling of the domestic terrorists and other peaceful protests, noting that this was just yet another example of racism and the hypocrisies of our country's response to varying protests, especially under this current administration. So thank God we are moving to a new administration tomorrow. Also, I'd like to just say that Teaneck is a township that is home to many different ethnic groups, where approximately 53% of the residents, as of the 2019 census figures, identify as non-white, and they strive to reside peacefully together. And while we may not always agree with each other's opinions, we agree that there is no room for hatred or violence to be acted on against each other, against this country, its people, and our democracy, and it will not be tolerated. And I am pleased that tonight we did reiterate our resolution that hate has no home here. And that basically concludes my comments. As always, I'm grateful to all the residents that participate each night, and I hope that we can assist some of our seniors, particularly that mentioned tonight that they were having challenges in getting the vaccine, that we will be able to assist them in getting the vaccine, and to any of our seniors that would like to do so.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and at a time when our country is as divided as it is, and with our chance for a new beginning with the swearing in of Joe Biden as our new president, I just want to remind everyone that hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can. Dr. King's words hold true today just as much as they did 50 years ago. I also want to thank our manager, our staff, and Holy Name Hospital for working together to vaccinate as many residents as possible at the Richard Rhoda Center. Yes, there are some hiccups in the administration of these shots due to supply issues from the state, but they are following state and federal guidelines, and they are working hard day in and day out to address the logistical challenges that we are facing with the administration of vaccines. And speaking of Holy Name, there are about 30 families in the neighborhood with some legitimate concerns about the hospital's plans to expand, but I want to encourage both sides to please continue talking. Dialogue is good. Honesty is good. Being direct is good. And as long as we keep that up, I am confident that both sides will reach an agreement that will satisfy the neighbors and keeps the hospital growing in the right direction. When it comes to the property on Alfred Avenue, which has been an abandoned eyesore since 2002, it is wonderful to finally see it being developed into something that will be positive and productive for our entire Teaneck community. It will soon be home to more than 250 families, and 15% of those units will be affordable housing. And although trees are not on tonight's agenda, it will be soon, and public safety always comes first. The United States Forest Service calculates that over a 50-year lifetime, one tree generates $31,250 worth of oxygen, provides $62,000 worth of air pollution control, recycles $37,500 worth of water, and controls $31,250 worth of soil erosion. We love our trees in Teaneck. We are Tree City, USA. But after what happened on Penn Avenue and other streets recently, it is wise that we pursue a tree inventory. And I am looking forward to what our DPW and the Shade Tree Advisory Board say about what needs to be done to better protect our residents from falling trees throughout our township. And lastly, as for the resident on Cottage Place, your personal attacks don't bother me. I've told you hundreds of times, you are entitled to your own opinions, but you are not entitled to your own facts. Your work is always riddled with mistakes because your information is wrong and your information is politically biased. So you can keep spewing your mistruths, but it won't get you anywhere. Thank you, Mayor. That is my 3 minutes.
Thank you, Councilmember Pagan. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to also thank Theodora Lacey and all those that have spent time all these years ensuring that Dr. King's dream does live on. I know that the Breakfast Committee had a bit of an unconventional meeting this go round. I realize that self-government and the principles of democracy begin in my own community. Those words were first uttered in the Athenian Oath in 1946 in the shadow of World War II. The Teaneck Council added them to the oath of new council members. And it went on to say that I will fight for the ideals and sacred things of my township beside my fellow citizens if I can, alone if I must. The entire thing is worth reading. I'm not going to read it all now, but those words ring true, and I think it's incumbent on all of us to reaffirm our civics every now and then, and especially as we legitimately overthrow one administration through our votes. Regarding some of the comments that were made, the Elm Avenue parking, I did read the history because I think it's important to know how the houses and the apartments differed. The fact that it was much more restricted to the detriment of the apartment dwellers, and in the 1990s, a settlement was reached. Now, if those house dwellers were not the original ones that were part of that agreement, I would be willing to take a look at it. But from my understanding, a lot of those people are still around. So while I do understand the issues that the people in the apartments are facing, these are issues that were in existence when they moved in, and the people in the houses certainly have a right to expect that the agreements would be honored. Regarding the issues with the vaccine rollout, I definitely want to thank all of the collaboration that's been going on, for all of the complaints that we've gotten. I don't want to lose sight that we've had close to 1,000, if not over, Teaneck seniors that are getting their vaccine. So that, at the end of the day, is the real true accomplishment. I will reiterate what Councilman Pagan had said. It's one thing to reaffirm that hate has no home here. It's absolutely true when residents come out and say that we need to be civil, and I certainly do my best. But for some people to come up and throw out some of the rhetorical bombs that they do, it's unhelpful, it's undignified. And I hope that we can raise the level of conversation in Teaneck so that better voices claim the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Kaplan. Councilmember Organ.
Yes, so I actually wanted to go over one thing that Mr. Stone said, which is important, and that's everybody in town should be signing up on the website for the emergency alerts and the nixles. When the website opens up, we don't get any prior alert. It goes out to the town as it comes out to us. And like Nikki Shalane said, she gets a number of calls each time, and we have a number of people reaching out. We can't get them the information any faster than it would come to them if they signed up for emergency alerts. Any seniors that are having trouble signing up for the vaccine, Dean has a phone line man to answer questions, so please call that. It's 201-837-4840, and they'll navigate you through it. As things are opening up, it should get easier for everyone to sign up. Everyone should keep in mind that Monday was supposed to be the first day of the opening for the township of the site. And it's only Tuesday, and we've done a lot. And it's frustrating, and people are getting themselves worked up, and we're getting calls and emails. Everyone just needs to wait a little bit, and things will smooth out. And for anyone that does get into the Rota Center, we took a tour on Friday. It is wonderful. The way that they have it set up, socially distant. Everyone who works there is very polite. They will tell you where to go. They will tell you what to do. And I do believe, Mickey, that the gentleman that seemed to be following you was probably just making sure that you were okay and that you wouldn't have a reaction. That's what they do. I had my second shot this afternoon, and I know that it's a choice, but I do urge everyone who can to get the shot. I've been giving them in nursing homes, and I've heard the stories of people who have passed, and the staff that have been sick with COVID, and people that still have lasting side effects that are now in homes. So if you have the option to get the shot, please get it, but don't make yourself sick trying to get it. Everyone just needs to relax a little bit. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Organ. Deputy Mayor Schwartz, do you have any comments?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for coming out and thank everyone for keep on trying with the vaccine. No other town, virtually no other town is doing it. So thank you very much to Mike Mayer and Holy Name. Thank you very much for Dean and to all the people working hard on this. And I appreciate everyone sticking with it. In a matter of a few weeks, this will be in the past. We've waited 10 weeks. 10 months we've waited. So let's keep patient, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Katz. You have no comments? Okay. All right. I just have a couple. I don't want to reiterate what has already been said. I too want to thank the MLK Birthday Committee. I logged on yesterday, and they really did a wonderful presentation, both with music and with messaging. Jonathan Capehart, I thought was was very interesting to listen to. So I thank you for your efforts in a very difficult year. I also want to thank everyone in town for your input regarding the vaccine process. It'll only get better with your input, but please understand we hear you, and as I think you've heard, both Dean and I have, Dean more than I, but we've both spoken with Mr. Marin on the needs to change the way we're registering people and to put that queue in. And we are continuing to do that. But I think as Deputy Mayor Schwartz said, I think once those things are done, you'll find in the next few weeks that things will be much smoother. And again, we're just reliant on when we get the vaccine. So please be patient. We'll do everything we can not to hang you up, to give you an appointment, then cancel it because we don't have the drug. We're going to do everything we can not to do that in this system. Ms. Silverberg, I completely agree with you. I have tried to chase Dean out of his office several times over the last week and a half, including yesterday morning when I almost ordered him to go home because it was technically a holiday for him. But there's nothing else to say about the work he's done and the amount of time he's put in and the dedication he has to the residents of this town. It's extraordinary. So I see it now, and we talk several times a day just about the vaccine and about Rhoda Center and Holy Name. And I can't thank him enough for the work that he's done for the residents of Teaneck. Thank you very much, Dean. Mrs. Giddens, I'm very upset. If what I said in use of that term, you meant that I was in a way disparaging, that was not my intent at all, and I apologize. What I wanted to emphasize was that there are many studies that show a level of health literacy on the part of everybody in order to make a decision about their health. And that's really what I was referencing. And that's why I wanted to work on in my spare time with Councilmember Rice, getting this thing together for a Q&A session, because I think it's very important, because I see the issue every day of people not having good factual information. So please, I'm sorry if you took the use of that term that way. That was not my intention at all. And I hope that we can get you in there to get that vaccine as soon as possible. We talked about the Elm Street. I think that's all, because what I wanted to basically do was just talk about facts. I don't need to address anything else other than facts. And I'm always open to talking to people about facts and talking to people about different points of view when they are steeped in reality. Thank you. All right. Let's move on to the consent agenda.
We
So,
need
read the bill list, please, clerk.
Yes, tonight's bill list, we are looking at $14,107,144.62.
Motion, Mark Schwartz.
Second.
Second. Is there anyone who wants to pull anything, any resolutions or anything of that nature? Okay, hearing none. Then I will move raffles, minutes, resolutions 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
Mayor, I apologize if we had to send out the addendum to this agenda, addendum number 2 that came out this morning, which excludes resolution 21-2021. Sorry, that's a bit of a tongue.
I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. We had to take that off for now.
Okay, I apologize.
All good.
So we're going to move raffles, minutes, Resolutions 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, bill list. Wait a second.
Make a motion to approve. Mark Schwartz, second if need be.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Who seconded? I wasn't sure who seconded.
Yes, by Councilman Begun. Councilwoman Romney Rice.
Yes, but quick question. As you mentioned, this was an amendment. I'm still looking at the total number of 27 resolutions. Can you just repeat or read what the additional ones were?
So we sent out an addendum. Sorry, Mayor. We sent out an addendum.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at my hard copy, which doesn't include the addendum items.
Yeah, it's okay. And sometimes that happens, as you know. So for the addendum that came out this morning, or a little bit in the late morning, we had to remove 20-2021, which was, it was a MOU that we had.
Yeah, got that one.
The drawing board. And then we had to add 28 and 29-2021, which was establishing the deposit agreement with Pagoda Savings Bank and First Commerce Bank, which we discussed in closed session.
In closed session, got it. Thank you for that. I just needed to know what those were.
No problem. That is what I'm here for.
Okay.
So yes to everything with an abstention on the bills list in case I happen to be noted there, but yes on everything else.
And Councilman Begun.
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ.
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes, recusing on the bills list.
And Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes. Seeing no more agenda items for this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Mark Schwartz.
Second, Javon Rice.
Second, Javon. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, so carried.
Before 10 o'clock. Woohoo.
So everybody have a good night. Thank you, public, for coming out. We'll see you in February. Take care.
Have a good one.